I recently did a podcast episode on making sure that you keep straight the difference between how you price something and what the value of that voiceover or acting service is. And I received a very heartfelt and vulnerable comment from one of my VOHeroes Pro members about this very subject, and I want to address how it can affect us emotionally. We'll do that in this episode of the VOHeroes podcast. So the comment I got from Bruce was, one of the greatest challenges I have when beginning a new venture or dusting off a skill I haven't used for a very long time is feeling worthy of charging the same or even close to the people who I perceive to be more experienced, established, etc. than me. This episode, and I think he's talking about the episode where I talked about price versus value, is also perfectly timed as I'm just about to submit my first audition for an audiobook. So are there any caveats to the perceived value philosophy when you have absolutely no track record and not a single thing on your audiobook resume? While I wasn't going to price myself cheaply, I did consider that getting the chance to do my first one is a significant value to me. So pricing myself below the SAG-AFTRA minimum for just this one didn't bother me, but now I find myself mulling that over. I'd love to get feedback on that. Well, a couple things pop up when you unpack this. First of all, there's the concept of multiple currencies. Certainly money is a currency that we can engage in when asking to be paid for our services, and another currency is experience. Yet another currency is exposure. When you're first doing projects in voiceover or acting, you may find that just getting the experience of getting on set or getting into a studio and just getting your hands dirty, getting your opportunity to flex your acting muscles or your narration muscles, your voiceover muscles, and making mistakes on a smaller stage with less risk to your future career might be as or more valuable than getting paid a certain amount of money for it. So there's that. But in general, I think dignity plays a role here. Dignity and not looking at this as a competition or a race with other people. I'm sure there are plenty of people who have gotten paid more money earlier in their journey than some actors make for doing on-camera or voiceover projects later in their journey with more experience and even more public awareness of their abilities and, exposure. So I don't think there's a direct correlation between where you are in your journey and where other people are in their journey. A-listers get paid different money all the time. B-listers, C-listers, D-listers, if those things actually exist, they too get paid very different amounts of money based on the project that they're doing. So my advice to you is simply make a statement for yourself. I'm not in a race with other actors or voice talent. I'm not in a comparison journey. They've got more than I do. I've got more than they do. I'm ahead. They're behind. I'm behind. They're ahead. Don't look at it as a competition or a comparison to what others are doing in the business, because there are so many different variables that can affect your rate that it really starts to become a little bit confusing to try and do that. And second, I want you to enjoy a position of dignity. I want you to enjoy a position of feeling worthy. And that, in many ways, is simply making the direct decision to give yourself permission to feel worthy of what you're doing. Now, for some people, that's very, very difficult. It really is. There's no proof that they have that they've made it. And guess what? Here's the dirty little secret sometimes for people like that. There will never be enough proof that they've made it. They will constantly second guess where they are and suffer from imposter syndrome. So many of the things that I've talked about on this podcast are wrapped up in this comment. So I want to thank you, Bruce, for making it. But my advice to you, my feedback to you on this, as you asked for, use union rates to maintain your dignity and feeling of worth. Let me repeat that for you. Use union rates to maintain your dignity and feeling of worth. They give you a floor that if you insist on putting yourself in a competition or comparison or just aligning yourself with what others are doing and being aware of it and looking over your shoulder and going, where am I? The union has set minimums, floors. Going below that, to me, for a professional actor or voice talent, is an exception rather than a rule. I'll do it for a friend. I'll do it for free for a student sometimes. You know, I still do student films occasionally when I'm asked, when I see somebody's in need, when a friend has a son or a daughter or a relative in film school. I'm open to that. But for the most part, I look at what I do as extraordinarily valuable to my production partners. I'm solving a problem for them. And that means I'm good at what I do. I'm skilled at what I do. I'm creative at what I do. And so that's worth something. And my dignity is also worth something. And so is yours, Bruce. So I want you to think about this. The union has set rates that are required for producers to pay actors as a minimum. And unless one of those other alternative currencies like experience or exposure is really worth it to you, and that may be in this first project that you have described, but it also may not be. And if it is, I just want you to stick with that for a very short period of time, because once you get that experience, and with an audiobook, it's going to be multiple hours, so you're going to have lots of experience that you gain very quickly. I want you to move on to knowing your worth, maintaining your worth, and maintaining your dignity. You're a professional. I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourself. If this resonates with you, I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I know this is something that a lot of actors and voice talent struggle with on a constant basis. It's one of the hardest things to get over because you don't want to, I get it, you don't want to feel like I'm bragging. You know, I'm bragging on myself. Listen, it's okay. You're good. You're good. It's okay. Hit the like button if you like what you're hearing. Subscribe to the channel. There's a little subscribe button for you and a bell that will help you be notified when these episodes are released. And again, let me know what you think in the comments below on VOHeroes.com. I'd love for that to be the case. I'm David H. Lawrence the 17th. I thank you so much for watching and for listening. And I will see you in the next episode of the VOHeroes podcast.